Okay, so this video is going to be a short one. We're going to basically, this is from our architectural class. In this video here, what we're going to do is get into our Craftsman home design through Revit. And we are going to go ahead and add the elements into our powder room or our, main floor half bath. And then we're also going to put some holes in the wall, basically to open up the space in that front living area. And later on in the subsequent video, I will show you how we can go through Revit City. We'll start learning how to download some extra families. And then we'll eventually go back and modify some of this equipment they're going to put in today. But right now, what I want to do is by getting into my Revit, I'm going to go ahead and open up my Craftsman home design so that it opens up. It takes a second to load. Okay, so this is where we left off last time, which was at that point we had our walls in, got everything dimensioned internally based upon the floor plan design we're looking at. In addition to that, we punched in some windows and doors, went in and loaded our families, get our garage doors in there. And eventually what I'm going to do is I'm also going to load down families for garage doors that look more like the ones I see in the photograph on the PDF file I shared with you. Okay, but right now what I want to do is I really want to kind of focus in on this powder room area. Okay, now a couple things I want to do, and someone brought this up in another subsequent Teams meeting. One of the good things is now we get this kind of defined. Most of this is defined. The only area really not is the stair area. It was about locking down your numbers here, or your dimensions. So I'm going to go to each one of these dimensions right now and just make sure they're kind of locked down so that they are in a position to where that's locked there, they don't shift on you. Okay, one of the things I can tell you as I go through and start monitoring or moving things around and adjusting, what I was noticing is I started doing that, walls were shifting on me. Okay, so what I'm going to do here is I'm actually going to start shifting stuff. Now I'm going to leave this one alone here because this actually should be bigger, and I think once we start modifying some things in here and get this in here, this will need to move. Okay, but I'm just going to go through and just make sure a couple are locked in place that I know should be the right numbers. I'm going to lock that one there. I'm going to keep this one at 6 feet for right now. Keep all these internals at the right dimensions. And all I'm doing is left-clicking on each, and I'm just locking them down because I don't want these walls to shift on me. Okay, we spent a lot of time trying to get this dialed in. The last thing I want to do is have to restructure everything and try to fix it all. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and lock this pantry stuff down. Just make sure all these main elements are looking good. Closet 2 foot wide, 3 foot, 3 foot across. Okay, and I think that's the ones I'm going to keep for right now. Okay, now with that done and locked down so the walls can't move, what we're going to do next is start putting in a toilet, and we're going to put in a sink system. Now if you look at the schematic on the PDF file, we actually have a pedestal sink. Unfortunately, the families that I've downloaded does not have a pedestal sink. So what will happen in another video is I'm going to show you how to go to revitcity.com and download and look for files that you can download, save to a folder on your desktop, and then you can incorporate those into the family. You can actually load those in, and they'll drop into the correct spots. And that way we have some more customization. But we're not going to worry about that right now. We're just going to set up a basic bathroom, get a sink, with a base countertop and a sink in there and a simple toilet. Okay, it'll be really straightforward. Now, the best way to approach this is under our architecture tab here, is to click on the word component. Okay, and when you do that, it's going to come into here to where it's basically the modify place component. When I get here, I'm just going to do load family. Now again, we walked through this process of loading families, and if you've not done so, go watch the previous video on how we incorporated families so that you can have access to all the families that are available currently within the Revit, basically the Revit download that we did. What I'm going to do is I'm going to look for what's called plumbing. So I'm going to hit this box back up here to get to my English Imperial folder. I'm going to roll down here until I hit the word plumbing. Okay, I'm going to double click on the plumbing folder. And what we want to do is we want to go into the architectural folder, double click. I want to go to fixtures, double click. And then here are the things we can put in our bathroom. Okay. Now, right away you probably don't see the word toilet. They don't call it a toilet, they call it a water closet. Okay, it's just the way it is. In most cases where you see a WC on a potential home plan, WC is water closet, that basically is a toilet. Okay, I'm going to double click in here, and basically you can see we have two commercial ones that are built to the wall. Okay, and you can kind of see the view of them. And then we have two in domestic, what we call basically home style toilets. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick the three-dimensional one because I want to be able to see it in 3D. Okay, and I'm going to show you how to do that today. We're actually going to look at the house in 3D to see how it's coming along. But I'm going to pick this toilet right here, and I'm going to click on the word open. Now, as you put it in there, you see I have a toilet following me around on my cursor. Okay, but it's not in the right direction. I need the back of the toilet on this wall over here. Well, in order to rotate your toilet or anything around, hit your space bar. Okay, so obviously that's not right, so I'm going to do it again. Not right. Do it one more time. Okay, now for this one, I'm just going to kind of place this somewhere along this wall. Okay, approximately up in this corner. I don't want to be right up against the wall. That's not where we want it. We want it to where there's about a 6-inch gap between the toilet and the wall. So I'm just going to go ahead, when I see it lock on the wall, I'm going to left click. To turn off this toilet tool, I'm going to hit escape. Okay, a couple times, and now this is what I'm looking at. Okay, now from here, real quick, what I'm going to do in this case is I'm going to go ahead, I want to show you in the 3D that the toilet's there, but then we're going to place it in the correct spot because I want to do some things by code. Okay, by code, the toilet should be 15 inches from the center to the edge of the wall, and we're going to place it in the right spot and then lock it in place. All right, but I want to see where the toilet is first. Okay, to see your house in 3D, all you have to do is come up here, this little house icon right up here by the letter A on the top bar, left click on it, and it'll go to 3D. Okay, so here's what our house is looking like in the 3-dimensional right now. Now what I'm going to do is kind of blow up. Now the bathroom is this box right here I'm circling around. So I'm going to kind of come in this direction. Now the problem is, to get this to rotate, I'm going to have to use this little thing over here. Okay, I'm going to left click to open up this little pop-up menu, and I'm going to click the word orbit, left click and hold. Okay, basically it's allowing me to pivot. All right, now I'm going to kind of move this around as I get there. I'm just going to hold my middle mouse button down. I'm going to continue to try to orbit, and there we go. There is my toilet. So I'm going to slide it over, and this is kind of what we're looking at. Now it's hard to see because it is in the box. We could do a walkthrough and walk into the bathroom if we wanted to, but for right now, I just want to go here and orbit just to see that it's placed in there. Okay, and it looks good. It looks like it's sitting on the floor. It is. So that's a good sign. Okay, that means it looks like it's at the right level. Sorry, I'm backing up. This is going crazy. But it looks like it's at the right level. Okay, and that's good. Now, I can also use a section view and cut into the bathroom and take a look at it. And we may do that in a subsequent video. But for right now, I see it's in there. I'm happy. So I'm going to come back up here to this tab and say main floor. Now what I want to do is I want to go to modify. I'm going to do a quick measure again. But I'm going to measure this time from the center of the toilet to the edge of this wall. I'm going to pull this out a little bit. I'll eventually delete this off here once I get everything placed. But I need this distance to be 15 inches. So I'm going to hit escape to turn that off. Left click on my toilet, because remember, to move something or change a dimension, you have to highlight the thing you want to move. Highlight my toilet so it turns blue. Left click on this number. I'm just going to type 15 quotation mark, 15 inches, and hit enter. So now, by rule, and I'm going to go ahead and click on this and lock it, this is now, by code, 15 inches to center of the plumbing line, okay? And that's where it should be. So we've got our first, by code, 15 inches to center. And then from here, we're going to measure later on 30 inches to the center of the sink, okay? And if we've done this right, then that means our plumbing and everything has been done correctly. Now, normally what we do is go and add another component, in this case a pedestal sink. And that's pretty common in a powder room. A pedestal sink is just a sink, and it has like a little, like a, I don't know, a decorative post underneath it. Okay, it just kind of stands freeform. In this case, we don't have any loaded into our properties right now, or into our families. We'll get one later. Instead, I'm just going to put a single vanity in there. Okay, so again, I'm going to come back to architecture. I'm going to go ahead and click on component again. This is the fastest way to get stuff in. I'm going to do a load family. Instead of water closets, I'm going to now move up, and I'm going to move up again, again, and again to get back to my English Imperial folder. From here, I'm going to look for what's called casework. Now, we're going to do this later on again in our kitchen. Okay, casework is all of your cabinetry, cabinetries and countertops. I'm going to double click on casework. I'm going to go to base cabinets, and what I'm looking for is a single vanity. So I want to be looking for these, and you can look down here, you have base cabinet, here we go, vanity cabinet double door. You can see a picture. Don't Need that one that big. That could be for a master bathroom. Vanity cable, double door, too big. Here's a door and a drawer, but that's going to be a little odd because a drawer won't be used if I have a sink sitting right there. So I'm going to do a vanity cabinet, single door. Now, I'll say open. Now the trick here is where you see the cursor, the thing in the back where that little cross is, that is the back of the cabinet. So right now where you see my cursor right now, sitting right here, that is the back of the cabinet, which needs to be on that wall. Well, that means I have to rotate my cabinet around so it gets on that wall. I'm going to start spinning it around until I get it right there. So now the cursor is on the back of the cabinet. I'm now simply going to put this right on this wall. Okay, now I'm going to slap it right about there. And what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to keep it kind of short of the wall because I want to show you how you can move this into place. Okay, so right now it's not quite touching the wall. So I'm going to highlight this, and then what you can do is you can actually use your arrow keys, okay, to kind of get things moved into place. You could also use your align tool if you wanted to. Okay, so I'm just going to kind of use my arrow key to kind of get this into place so it looks okay, and that looks pretty darn good right there. But you could also, if you wanted to, I'm going to hit escape here, you could also go to modify and use your align tool and take this tool here to this wall. Now you see that caused something to shift, but that's okay. I believe nothing else. I'm just double checking my numbers. That should have worked. That's just because that wall got extended. Okay, and then I can do the same thing here, this one to this one. Now that changed that wall because this doesn't have a dimension. Now again, some of this may shift back down the road. And actually what happened here is my bathroom actually shrank, which I do not understand why it just did that because I thought I had that locked. So let me go back, Control Z, and go to this number and make sure that is locked. Okay, so now I can come back to that line tool. And so these are the little things we've got to play. The games you have to play with this to get this to work the way you want to. Okay, so that moved that. And again, the reason that moved is we don't have this back wall defined. And eventually it's going to get there. But you did see here my door kind of got shoved into the wall. So I'm just going to take this and I'm going to move it a few clicks to where it's right about there. So about a 3-inch gap. Okay, and I'm going to hit escape to turn that off. All right, now let's go back to the 3D and see what this vanity looks like here. Okay, so I'm going to go to here and I'm going to hit my 3-dimensional tab here. Okay, so again, looking at this, and it looks like my toilet's kind of in the wall a little bit. It looks like it is. So I'm going to have to probably take some of this and move it out from the wall just a little bit. And again, I can also look from the main floor. Okay, so I'm going to take this out to my left. And I'm actually going to keep it so there's just a slight space there. Because really, the truth is, your toilet is not going to be butted right up against the wall. Because you got to be able to get an access to the top tank. So I'm just going to make it off the wall a little bit. And that's fine there. Okay, but I am going to also come back to that 3D because I just want to take a peek at the cabinet. I'm going to hit my little orbit tool, left click, and just kind of look, and there it is. Now, I try to go in here to modify because I don't want my door opening this way. Most likely your door would open in here, this way out. But I could not find a way to modify this. This will be something I'll have to look into on how to modify where the handle is to this side and the door swings differently. But in this case, all I'm really looking for is my cabinet in position on the floor, and it looks like everything looks good. Okay, so really now what I want to do is add a countertop on this with a hole for a sink and then add a sink. Okay, but I'm also going to make this a little bit bigger. This is only a 24-inch cabinet. We can actually go a little bit bigger in there. We could actually put a 30-inch cabinet in there. Okay, so what I'm going to do is come back to my main floor, highlight this, and what I want to do is go to my Edit Type over here in the Properties. Now, I don't want to override the 24-inch cabinet. What I'm going to do instead is do a duplicate, and I'm going to change this to a 30-inch cabinet. Okay, basically your standard size of cabinets are 24, 30, 36, and then they go up from there, like 48, 72, something like that, 60 and 72. I'm going to make this a 30-inch cabinet and say OK. In this case, let's name it a 30-inch, okay, and then I got to change it from 2 feet here, sorry, to 2 feet 6 inches. Okay, I'm going to hit OK, and now my cabinet got a lot bigger. Okay, now the good news is, oops, I got to roll in, roll out. The cabinet got shifted here. So again, the things I can do is I could find, for instance, I'm going to take and highlight my cabinet. And if you want, you can actually go ahead and I'm going to slide it away from the wall for a second, slide it up until I'm right there. Now it looks good. I'm just going to kind of eyeball it into that place, and this looks really good, okay? So now it looks like my spacing is even on this side of the toilet and this side of the toilet. Again, going to my three-dimensional view, you can see the cabinet is a little bit bigger. Now that may be a little tight. I would tell you from my perspective, depending on the size of the toilet, this may be okay. Use your powder room as a tight room, so this would be an okay vanity and setup here, all right? Go to my main floor now. What I need to do is put a countertop on this that has a hole for the sink. So again, I'm going to go to architecture, I'm going to go to component, and I'm going to go to load family. You're going to see this gets very repetitive. Now again, a countertop is one folder up, right below base cabinets. We're going to look for a vanity countertop. I'm going to go with a round one. If you would like to go with a square, you're more than welcome to, but I'm going to go ahead with a round sink top. Okay, I'm going to put a round sink in mine because it looks similar to what I see in the layout, which is the pedestal sink. I'm going to go ahead and use this one and say open. Now, as you can see, again, it's in the wrong orientation. Okay, so I'm going to start using my space bar because I need the double line to the back wall. So space bar, space bar, space bar. And now all I'm going to do is just kind of place this in here. I'm just going to kind of locate it and left click. Now, I'm going to go ahead and do a couple things. I'm going to highlight this, use my arrow keys to kind of butt it up against the wall, use my arrow keys to butt it to the back wall. But obviously, this is way too big. If I'm going to my three-dimensional view now, we got a problem with our counter here. It's a little too big. It'd be really hard to go to the bathroom with a counter hanging over the toilet here. Okay? So what we're going to do is we are going to shrink this down. Now, the way you can do that is really simple. If you click on the countertop and grab this little gripper right here, you can left click and pull this in. Now I'm going to pull it in so it's approximately about the same distance over the top as I see right here. Now this is eyeballed. Okay, now what I could do is I could also go in here and edit that size to right now where it's showing you the, I'm not sure what it's showing, depth is 2:1. I think we can actually modify its size. I'm not going to worry about that. I'm just going to eyeball it so it looks okay. Now the problem is my sinkhole's in the wrong spot. So again, I'm going to grab this one, and I'm just going to grab this and kind of until it's right there at the center, and then let go. Okay, so now the sinkhole's back in the middle. Now if you want, you could lock this in so the sink will not move on you. Okay, so if I go back to my 3D, there we go. There's that sinkhole. Here's all this against the wall. Now it looks like this is not quite butted up against the wall. If I go to my rotate and really kind of look at this, maybe it is, maybe it isn't. I can't tell. It looks like it's not quite up against the wall. So I may go back into my flat layout, main floor, and I may butt this up a little bit closer because it looks like there may be just the tiniest little gap, and just do one arrowhead down. That looks okay. All right, just little small nuances. Like I'm not going to be looking that close on these drawings. But again, I'm finicky. I like to make sure my stuff looks like it's working right. So I'm just going to blow up on these things, the visual, and just make sure that it is completely butted up against the wall. Okay, so I've got that in there. So now what I want to do is just drop the sink in there. Okay, and then we're done with this bathroom. Actually, what I'll show you after that is I'm going to measure between the toilet and the sink, and we should be 30 inches in between or very close to it. Okay, now I'm going to go to component. I'm going to go to load family. Now a sink is where the toilets were. That is in the Imperial architecture. Okay, so I got to go my folders back up from casework to English Imperial and go down to plumbing. I'm going to go to architecture and fixtures, and I'm going to pick sinks. Now I'm looking for our vanity sinks. There's two. There's a vanity round and a vanity square. Okay, I'm going to go vanity round and say open. Again, same thing. I got to get this so that the things in the back right there, or the whatever you want to call the faucet, is towards the back wall. So I got to use my space bar to rotate this around. I'm not sure why this is doing what it's doing. I guess it's weird. Did not know it could do that, but I'm going to go ahead. And now what I'm going to do is eyeball this into place. And what I mean by this is I'm just going to kind of, why am I rotating here? Okay, there we go. I don't know why it's rotating. That's weird. It wasn't doing it earlier, but okay. And then I'm just going to kind of center it over the hole. Okay, this is not something I'm going to be like measuring for when you turn this in. I'm just going to kind of get it in there so it looks like it's centered in that hole. That looks pretty darn good right there. And I'm just going to go ahead and say, you know what, right here, that looks centered, and I'm going to left click. And then I'm going to hit my escape. Okay? So there is my sink. All right? Now, from here, I'll go back to my 3D, and there you go. There is the sink in place. I'll do my orbit. See, whoa, that's not what I wanted. Let me back up. Where am I at? I am like upside down on the house, which I am. I apologize. I'm all over the place. Still trying to get used to this orbit thing. I'm so used to SolidWorks, I keep wanting to right click to do it, but it won't work. But looks like my sink is sitting in the right spot. So officially, I have my bathroom done. Now later on, we're going to add like a light bar up here, a mirror. We're going to talk about how to put a towel bar up and how to eventually fine tune and put toilet paper holder and things of that nature. But right now, this looks like a finished bathroom to what they have in the design. Okay? Now, going back to here, I just want to verify one more thing. Hit escape a couple times. Go to my modify. I'm just going to do a quick measure between the center of this toilet and the center of the sink. And as you see right now, I'm at 2 feet 5 inches and 9/16. Okay? This is supposed to be 2 feet 6 inches. So we are really, really, really close. And the truth of the matter is, this would pass inspection. Okay, 30 inches would be 2 feet 6. So we really do have a legitimate bathroom right here. 5 foot by 5 foot is pretty legit. The only thing I could think of is potentially, I might go ahead and hit escape on that. Okay, the only thing I could think that would change would maybe bump this out a little bit more because of the way the door is. But looking at the blueprints or the floor plan, this looks very much what the bathroom should be. 5 by 5, 15 inches off the wall for center of the toilet, 30 inches to center of the sink. We have a legitimate bathroom right here. Okay, so with that said, I'm going to do a quick control save to save my model. And then I want to do one more thing before I get off this video. Okay. In our floor plan, so we got our bathroom done, we got all our walls, but in this front room, these are basically open walkways, okay? So basically what you're going to have is like a pillar in the corner that's going to be a post. You have a little bit of an entry post right here and a little bit over here in the corner, but the rest of this is an open floor plan where we can actually, through the components and the families, we can add an opening in here so that it becomes that open floor plan. And I want to add that in here. Okay, so again, I'm going to go to my architecture. I'm going to go to component. I'm going to go to load family. Now I'm going to go back to my Imperial, English Imperial. And what I want to look for is, if you come down here, there's what's called openings. All right, I'm going to double click on the word openings. And now here are your openings. You got opening with a trim. Okay, that's like a window. You just punched a window through and you got trim all around it. You just got a general opening. You've got an opening for a door, you got an opening for a window, a round window, a square window. You got a passage opening, okay, cased, which is what I would probably end up doing with this. I'd probably case it out. You can do one with an arch. Now, again, depending on what you want to do style-wise, I'm thinking this is an open floor plan based upon kind of the model I'm looking at. I'm going to go ahead and just make this a squared out cut. I'd like to do the cased, but I don't know. In this case, I don't think it would. I believe it would be drywalled. I don't think they'd case it in. I'm going to make this go all the way to the ceiling. I'm going to assume my ceilings are at 9 feet, so I'm going to make a 9-foot tall opening so that it goes all the way to the ceiling. This may be something that we would come back and adjust and put casing on it and go to 8 feet. I'm not sure. I'm just assuming by the plan I'm looking at and the modern style of this home, it'd probably be an open floor plan where it'd be one consistent ceiling between that family room and this front flex room. Again, I'm making an assumption and I'm going to go with it for right now. So what I'm going to do in this case is just go to opening door. I'm going to say open. Now the standard of this, when I put it in, is 36 by 84. It's 3 feet by 7 feet. Okay, what I'm going to do instead is I'm going to come in here. I am going to go ahead and just kind of place it in here, right about the middle of the wall, and then hit escape. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to highlight this. I'm going to do an edit type. I'm going to do a duplicate. And I'm going to call this, I think it was 120 inch, 10 foot by 108 inch wall opening. Okay, and you can call it something else if you want. Okay, and then I'm going to go ahead and change my parameters on this. to, what did I say? This is going to be a 9 foot tall by 10 foot big hole. Okay, enter. And now I'm going to say okay. And now it becomes huge. Now, in this case, what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to kind of slide this over. I'm going to grab it, and I'm just going to kind of grab and pull it to where it's really close to that edge right there. Now it's close enough for right now, okay? There should be a little bump out right there according to the blueprints, probably about a 6-inch to 1 foot bump out. We'll probably have about a 2 foot bump out here. But looking at it from a 3-dimensional model, let me back this up a little bit. There is that hole, so let's go ahead and come here and do our orbit. Left click and rotate. Oops, oh man, sorry. I'm getting used to what I'm doing with this thing. All right, I'm gonna slide it over, and I'm still, caught in those SolidWorks days, but this is basically what we're looking at now. And there is that big opening right there. Okay, this will end up being a post here in a moment. All right, so this will, when it's all said and done, this will look like a post. That's that little bump out. Now I know it looks like it has a top here, but you gotta remember, we're gonna have a ceiling in here. So this 1 foot gap here will all be covered when we add in our ceiling, because our ceilings will be 1 foot thick for the trusses that go across for the upstairs floor. Okay, so that looks pretty good. So let's go back to our main floor and do one more thing, and then we'll save and call this good for today. I'm going to go back to my component. I'm going to go ahead back to that load family. I'm going to go ahead back to that opening door, open it again, and I'm going to come in here and throw another one in here. Okay, hit escape. I'm going to click on this, and again, edit type, duplicate, because I don't want to override this 36 by 84. I still want that one to always be there. This one, though, is going to be a little bit different. This one is going to be a 144 inch. No, excuse me, what is it? Yeah, 144 inch. Yeah, 144, 12 feet by 108 inch wall opening. I'm going to say OK. Now I'm going to change this again to 9 feet. I'm going to change this one to 12 feet. And I'm going to say OK. Okay, much bigger. Oh, okay, flash in, flash out. I am now going to take this, I'm going to kind of bump up, and I'm going to drag it so it's about right in that same spot. Now this is going to be close. I'll probably end up adjusting this a little more. It should look like a post corner. Okay, but I should still have a little bit here, and this may actually be a little bit smaller, maybe this 11.5 feet. And I may adjust it down the road, so this is a little bit longer, but this looks pretty close to the actual floor plan. Okay, now if I go back to my 3-dimensional model, here we go. I'll go back and do a little orbit for you and bring this over here, and there you go. So this is kind of what it would be looking like. So this becomes that open design. So again, remember, right along this edge will be our ceiling. Right along that edge will be a ceiling, so this will look like a complete open floor plan with this simple post holding up the corner. Okay, and this becomes that, quote, flex room, where you can put it for whatever, an office, you could use it for a music room, a secondary sitting room, whatever the case is. Okay, so again, that gives us that finish there. So in this video alone, we were able to complete our bathroom over here to the left and finish up that flex room, and then you can kind of float around and look about your house a little bit. I'm going to download a sliding glass door here eventually. I'll show you that in some subsequent films. Okay, here's all my windows and casements. I will do some adjusting on windows. Whoop, sorry. Oh, blowing way out of here. Rotating it around. Sorry. Why am I having such a difficult time with this? Oh my goodness. I don't know why this is doing what it's doing, but if I go to the other side of the house, okay, go to the back. Okay, let's go to this side over here. That turns the house around, so now you can kind of see what this looks like. There's my garages. I'm eventually going to replace these so there's glass along the top. I'm going to download the door, but there's my entry door that's very similar. I will try to find some better casing for it. The front windows are right there. So we really are starting to get the basic gist of a house right now. Okay, now with that said, I'm going to go back to my main floor, kind of pan out so you can kind of see where we're at. So bathroom's complete, flex room's complete. At this point, I'm going to do a control save. Okay, and then the next video I will present to you, we will start putting in our kitchen and our kitchen cabinetry. Okay, with that said, add these elements to your model and save, and be ready for the next video. Good luck and take care.